This program provides education, not advice. Sponsors pay a fee for endorsements and interviews. See the truthayf.com disclosure page for details.
This is where technology, innovation, and personal finance come together.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.
Support for The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman comes from Invesco QQQ. 25 years ago, Invesco QQQ rethought the investing landscape by providing access to the Nasdaq's 100 most innovative companies, all in one ETF. What's ahead for the next 25 years? Could it be flying cars, neural implants, electric planes? Nobody knows for sure. But one thing's for certain. You can gain access to that progress with Invesco QQQ ETF. Let's rethink possibility. There are risks when investing in ETFs, including possible loss of money. ETF risks are similar to those of stocks. Investments in the tech sector are subject to greater risk and more volatility than more diversified investments. The Nasdaq 100 Index comprises the 100 largest non-financial companies on the Nasdaq. You can't invest directly into an index. Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit Invesco.com for prospectus containing this information. Read it carefully before investing. Invesco Distributors, Inc.
It's Thursday, October 24th. We're going to tackle one of the top issues that American voters have today, immigration and border security. All part of my 34 topics that we're covering across these 19 podcasts in an effort to help me decide how to move from undecided to decided. But before we get into immigration and border security, here's a question I got from Ramon. He's in Brooklyn, New York.
Can you explain what causes markets to go down? When the market suddenly drops big time, it means that lots of investors sell a lot of their shares all on the same day. We're probably talking about not just billions, but trillions of dollars. Now, the question is, if somebody sells, that means somebody else buys. So if there are both sellers and buyers, why does the stock go down? How does that happen? How does it work in real life?
Yeah, Ramon, your question makes a lot of sense. And people will simplistically say, oh, it's supply-demand. But it's really a little bit more deep than that. I mean, you do fundamentally get the supply-demand thing, but you're asking a logical question. So what's the answer? It's real simple. Although the numbers of buyers and sellers are the same, and the number of shares they are buying and selling is the same, in other words, I'm selling, you're buying, there's one of each of us. I'm selling 100 shares. You're buying 100 shares, same number of shares. What causes the share price to go up or down? It's real simple. Right now, let's say that security XYZ is selling for $100 per share, and I own 100 shares, and I want to sell them. And you come along and you say, I'd like to buy them, but I don't feel like paying $100 a share. I'll give you 80. And I'm saying to myself, but I really want 100. In fact, I really like 101. I don't want to give them to you for just 80. That's where you and I have to negotiate. If I really think that I can find somebody else to pay me 101, I'm going to go look for somebody else. But if I can't find the somebody else, all I got is you, and I really do need to sell because maybe I need the liquidity, maybe I have bills to pay, I've who knows what going on in my life, and I just need to sell, then I'm going to agree to sell to you for 80, and you're going to agree to buy for 80. That's what the open marketplace is. That's what capitalism is all about, the free market system. And that's how it works in real life. Now you multiply this by my simple example of you and me to millions of investors all around the world, all working together in sync simultaneously to derive the price of that security at this very moment. So if you watch the ticker of any given stock on CNBC or on Yahoo Finance or whatever site you choose to go to, Reuters or Bloomberg or you name it, you'll see the price changing moment by moment. And that's because the investors are negotiating with each other moment by moment. It's really that simple. That's how it works in real life.
We'll be back with more here on The Truth About Your Future. Stay with us.
Electricity, a big idea that's inspired countless new ones. From powering the light bulb to virtually powering our entire lives. 30 years ago, State Street launched the Spider S&P 500 ETF, SPY. A big idea that inspired the world to invest differently, and still does. What can you do with SPY?
Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit ssga.com for a prospectus containing this and other information. Read it carefully before investing. SPY is subject to risks similar to those of stocks. All ETFs are subject to risk, including possible loss of principal. Alps Distributors, Inc. Distributor.
Welcome back to The Truth About Your Future.
Okay, let's move on to our topic today, immigration and border security. This is, without a doubt, one of the top 2 most significant political issues, according to every poll that has been done throughout this election season. The economy is the other one, and that's what we're going to tackle today. I have received, as I have been telling you, a huge number of emails from my listeners. Thank you so much. I continue to get more every single day. I read them all, and I share with you a great many of them. And as I told you at the very beginning of this series a couple of weeks ago, it's still true today. Of all the emails that I'm getting from all of the people who are writing into me, the tally is 50-50. The vote is split among those who are writing to me. I had expressed earlier some surprise at that. I just had assumed that being a money-based conversation that it would be therefore a more conservative-based audience, but that has proven not to be the case, at least by judging from the emails that I'm getting. Half of you are supporting Trump, half of you are supporting Harris. And that is true even to today with the new emails that I'm continuing to get daily, with one very notable exception. Of all the emails that I've gotten, one of the most talked about topics is immigration. The other one was the economy. And not a single email that I have received on immigration and border security has been favorable to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. Every single one has either been favorable about Donald Trump or highly critical of Biden-Harris. So let me just share with you some of the emails. I'm not going to play very many because it'll get redundant. So let me first start off with this email that I received from George in Delaware.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have allowed 10 to 12 million illegal immigrants into the country. They allowed fentanyl to be smuggled into the country, which is killing about 100,000 Americans each year. She stopped building the wall at the southern border. She supports decriminalizing illegal immigration. She opposes deportation of illegal aliens. She supports taxpayer-funded health care for illegal aliens.
And now, on the other side of the country, here is Ron. He's in California.
Donald Trump doesn't hate immigrants. He hates illegal aliens with criminal and violent backgrounds and terrorists who come here to do us harm. Securing the border is the first step. We welcome good, educated, productive immigrants so criminals don't take over.
Next, we've got Henry from Wyoming.
Harris is the border czar, but she let 10 million immigrants enter illegally.
And finally, the last one I'll share with you, Paul. Here's what he wrote to me.
The human suffering at our southern border is beyond comprehension. Over 300,000 children have been lost by this administration. The drug cartels are making billions of dollars by charging refugees for escort across the border. Fentanyl is killing tens of thousands, yet we do nothing to stop the flow. We are being asked to accommodate and integrate 12+ million immigrants in a short period of time. Immigrants are placed in towns throughout the country with little or no notice. Kamala was the border czar for 3 years and has done nothing.
So these four folks, thank you so much for your comments, are highly representative of the emails I have received on the topic of immigration and border security. I think that it is obvious there is nobody, I believe, in this country who is capable or willing to endorse the performance of Kamala Harris as border czar or of Joe Biden as president in the management of the border across our southern states. And that's why I think every Democrat, every liberal, every Kamala supporter has been totally silent on this issue in all of the emails they send to me and all the reasons they give me for supporting Kamala. Nobody raises the border. Clearly, Kamala has failed. She was the border czar. In 2021, early in his presidency, Joe Biden appointed Kamala to head the border immigration issue. This is the single issue that she was specifically tasked with heading, and she failed miserably. But why? Quite frankly, in my perspective, it's because she has had no executive experience. Let me just run through the numbers with you. We have had 46 presidents of the United States since our founding, very first, of course, George Washington. Of the 46 presidents, 12 of them were governors before becoming president. Thomas Jefferson, Martin Van Buren, John Tyler, James Polk, Andrew Johnson, Grover Cleveland, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Calvin Coolidge, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Jimmy Carter, and Bill Clinton. 12 of them were governors. They got extensive executive experience in government. 10 of our presidents were military leaders. George Washington, of course, Zachary Taylor, Ulysses S. Grant, Chester A. Arthur, Benjamin Harrison, Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Gerald Ford, and George H.W. Bush. All of them had prominent military records, many downright war heroes. 5 of our 46 presidents were both governors and military leaders. Andrew Jackson, William Henry Harrison, James Monroe, Rutherford B. Hayes, and Teddy Roosevelt. 2 others are technically in this category. They were both governors and military. That's Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush, but I discount them because Reagan's military service was really administrative during the war, and Bush was never in combat. He was in the Texas Air National Guard, but never served in combat. But nevertheless, they were both governors. So all told, of our 46 presidents, 14 of them were governors, 10 of them were military leaders, 5 of them were both. That's 29 out of 46, nearly 2/3 of our presidents throughout the past 200 plus years were governors or military leaders. Check this out. Out of the 46 presidents, 11 of them were one-term presidents, meaning we didn't like them and we threw them out of office. We failed to re-elect them. 11 of the 46 were one-termers. Of the 11, 8 of them were neither a governor nor a military leader. In other words, 8 of the 11 who we didn't like had no prior experience running a government or running military operations. In fact, some of them were among the worst presidents in history. John Adams, Millard Fillmore, James Buchanan, Warren G. Harding, Herbert Hoover. No government leadership experience, either as governor or running a military operation. Oh, by the way, there are 3 others in this category where they were not a governor nor in the military leadership: Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden. What does that tell you? Are we setting up Kamala Harris to be a failure as president because she was never a governor? She doesn't have any military leadership experience. And guess what? She was elected to the Senate only once in 2016, and she didn't even serve a full term because she immediately decided to run for president in 2019, and she was the first to drop out of the race before I think there was even a single primary. Yet, nevertheless, she was appointed VP by Joe Biden. Her executive experience, from all press accounts that I've seen, it's been awful. She apparently is a horrible boss. In her 3 years as vice president, 92% of her staff quit. Only 4 out of 47 who started with her in 2021 are still there. She had the same problem, apparently, when she was district attorney and attorney general and senator. And this really irks me as a business owner. You know, Gene and I started our business in our 20s, and we ran our company for 30 plus years, and we did everything we could to give our staff a safe, secure environment that gave them respect and career growth and opportunity. We had voluntary turnover, meaning people who just quit. They weren't fired, they quit. Less than 3% a year. In our 32 years of running our financial planning practice, not a single financial planner ever left to join another firm. We fired a few over the years. 3 died, sadly, and several retired, but no financial advisor ever left to go join a competitor. That's unheard of in the financial services industry, where turnover is about 25% a year at the big firms. We won multiple Best Places to Work awards we worked really hard at creating a family-friendly, respectful workplace. And so when I see that 92% of her staff quit and news reports of her having a toxic workplace in every workplace she led as district attorney in San Francisco, as AG in California, at the U.S. Senate, and now as VP, I'm just like, I have to wonder, is she capable of running an effective organization that can get things done? No wonder she totally failed as board czar. And if she couldn't succeed at running just that, how can I believe she'll succeed at running the whole country? And none of this speaks to the failure itself of immigration and border security. President Biden, like I said, gave her the assignment early on, back in 2021. He said at the time, and I quote, "She is the most qualified person to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle in stemming the movement of so many folks to our southern border," unquote. Really? She was the most qualified person? She had absolutely no experience with Mexico or Central America or South America. She made a very famous statement to migrants when she took the job. She said, quote, "Do not come. If you come to our border, you will be turned back." That's what she said. And guess what? Nobody was turned back. 10 million undocumented immigrants crossed the border over the past 3 years. I don't think anybody, anywhere, not any Democrat, not any independent, not any undecideds like me, I don't think anyone anywhere gives Kamala Harris any credit for her performance on the immigration and border security issue. And here's the thing. On most topics where Donald Trump bashes her, he's really bashing Biden. He's trying to sweep her under his rug because that's what you do when you're campaigning. I mean, Joe Biden has been president these past 4 years. When Trump bashes Kamala, he's really bashing Biden, not her. She's just been the VP. And we all know that vice presidents have little to no say in what the presidents actually do. So whenever I hear Trump criticizing Kamala Harris because of stuff the Harris-Biden administration did, I take all that with a grain of salt. But on the border issue, that was hers. Biden handed it to her and told her to fix it, and she failed in every respect. Meanwhile, we saw how stern Trump has been on immigration. We saw what he did when he was president. No question he'll do it again. There's no question he's going to be stern. He's talking about deporting 10, 12 million illegal immigrants, and he says, in fact, it's going to be bloody. That's a little scary, if you ask me. But nevertheless, Trump managed the borders far more effectively than Kamala Harris. Clearly, on this topic, I vote for Trump, not Harris. And her broader performance as a boss, where she gave us some pretty clear evidence of her performance as a boss on the border issue, and more broadly with her staff turnover, gives me real pause about naming her the commander-in-chief and the executive-in-chief of our nation. Tomorrow, transportation and infrastructure. And if you missed yesterday's webinar on longevity, fascinating conversation with Nate Conrad, the head of LifeX. If you're worried about running out of money before you run out of life, the innovative solution that we talked about yesterday with Nate is really worth paying attention to. If you missed the webinar, we've got an encore replay opportunity for you. The link to it's in your show notes. Watch it whenever you like. It's free. I encourage you to check it out. And I'll see you tomorrow when we talk about transportation and infrastructure.
I'm glad you're with me here on The Truth About Your Future. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to follow and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. And remember, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. I read them all. Never miss an episode of The Truth About Your Future. Follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. I'll see you tomorrow.
How do advances in science, technology, and medicine translate into investment opportunity? Listen and learn.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.